All right, what is up, everyone in the chat, everyone watching, wherever you're watching? Welcome back to, I think this is week 9 of our weekly marketing series here at Hashtag Paid. For anyone that is new here, let me give you a quick brief rundown on what to expect. So, what we do with these, and the goal is that in 20 minutes, you get to hear from a marketing expert on a topic tangential to influencer marketing. And the hope is you either walk away feeling inspired, you walk away with some new piece of knowledge, you walk away maybe with a mix of both. And so today we're talking about restricted industries. Specifically, we'll talk a little bit about healthcare. And we've got the perfect person here to talk about it with us. Denise, thank you so much for joining. I don't want to do you a disservice about by introducing you because I think it'd be best if you introduce yourself. So in 30 seconds, what is it you do at Bayer? What have you done in the past? Give us a little rundown.
Wow, 30 seconds. Who's got the clock? Let's go. So Denise Vitola, and I am a VP over brand integration, social, PR, and influencer. And I have to say, it's a bit of a unicorn job, which I actually wrote the JD, a job description, and took the job because I was the only one that was suited for it. I say that in a joking way, but basically I'm at the intersection of working on our consumer products, our OTC brands, to ensure that we are seamlessly connecting with the consumer along the consumer journey. And whether that's through a PR program or an influencer program or social, or all three things put together, or 6 things, because we may have shopper and advertising and some other elements within that. But that is my day-to-day job. And I come from a long line of working on big brands like P&G and Abbott and J&J and TJ Maxx and Marshalls, and working on influencer for a very, very long time. And social, I think it's all connected, and creating big award-winning PR campaigns to coincide and go along with this, working on agency team platforms. And really my big love is influencer. And for anybody out there, I would rather just work on influencer all day, every day. But nonetheless, I'll take what I can get.
So if someone's hiring purely for influencer in the chat, definitely hit up Denise. Well, let me ask you this. I think one of the most interesting things that I found when we were talking a couple of weeks ago, and as you just shared, is that you've been a part of so many different industries, and a lot of those industries aren't regulated in the same way that healthcare is regulated. So what got you excited to make the move to healthcare to still work with creators?
Yeah, well, I wish I could say because it was a challenging space and I wanted to break through, but the real answer is that as a lot of people, you'll get older in your career and you start to decide that maybe money's not driving me forward. It's really a passion that you have. And you really start to say, what do I want to wake up and do every day? And that's where I was at. I said, okay, health and wellness is at my core. If you follow me on Instagram, that's my main social channel. I'm all about health and wellness daily and talking about various topics that have to do with health, wellness, fitness, and all of those things. Now, with that, I want my personal life and my work life to feel connected. And it was easy for me to make that connection working at Bayer, because what we do every day is delivering health for all and hunger for none. So it's really about, making people's lives better through health and wellness. And the connection was easy to do.
A little earlier, you talked about, like you didn't want to just wake up and go challenges and seek discomfort every single day. But here you are working in healthcare, and it's cool how there is that connection based off of the thing that gets you going and you're so passionate about every day, plus the expertise that you have. For everyone listening, give us a little bit of an idea of what are the hurdles you have to face when you're working with influencers in healthcare compared to other CPG brands that you were at in the past.
Yeah. So truth be told, and let's be honest here, is everyone probably has seen one UFC match or another, right? Well, that's me every day. And there is someone I follow on LinkedIn, and he posts very funny memes, and it's like me and legal, social and legal. And that's where I feel I'm at. I am in the UFC ring, and in this constant battle of proving influencer can exist in this regulated space. And sometimes I tap out on things, most of the times I don't. But we have to be mindful of the situation that we're in. So I try to push things, or I tell people that aren't familiar with my industry, what I do every day is roll boulders up hills. It's not easy. It really isn't. But there's that side of it with being in a regulated industry. But I'm sure other people that aren't working in regulated industries, or if they do, there's the other side of it is I can't believe that I'm still explaining influencer marketing to marketers and to people within my organization that are super smart people, but aren't really as advanced when it comes to influencers.
Yeah, I won't comment on that because I'm way too deep in this creator space to even be in someone else's, in the average person or the average marketer's mind, but I am with you. Talk to me a little bit about the process. So when you were working, let's call it at a CPG company in the past, and you were running influencer campaigns, there was one way to do it. You probably didn't have to go about different checkpoints and other hurdles. You get to healthcare, you start running similar influencer marketing type campaigns. What are the things in healthcare that you have to deal with that you didn't have to deal with when you were in CPG, for example, as like throughout the process of working with influencers?
Yeah. So I think it's mostly disclosures, right? So everyone, it deals with like, okay, I have to say hashtag brand partner and things like that, just because it's FTC regulations, but also disclosures on products. So, we normally don't like influencers to take the product, right? So like there's that. So we have to make sure influencers understand that, because we don't want to reshoots on things. So we're sort of in our brief laying out the do's and don'ts. So we do need you to say I'm making this up, but like one pill every 12 hours, right? So if we're doing a video and it's for something for a headache, we can't, like, in first frame you're with a headache, second frame you're like awake and fantastic, because it's sending the message that within a second that medicine is going to work. So we have to say dramatization, or this happened over the course of an hour, or whatever it is. So it's really all of those things that make the influencer or creator content clunky, right? It's like, this is a dramatization. And it's like, we're all like, put the brakes on. Like, that is not the definition of authenticity. So trying to work around some of that stuff, and like, can we put it in the copy? Does it have to be on top of the video? Asking questions, right? So people say, how have you found success? I ask a lot of questions. I say, well, what is the risk here? You have to say that? Because at the same time, I don't want to put my company in a bad place either. I want to make sure everybody's protected, because we know, things could be read wrong or misinterpreted or whatever it could be. So we do have to be crystal clear in how the product is intended for use.
You spoke a little bit about successes to get over these hurdles. Do you have some, whether anecdotes and or some of these strategies that have worked really well, even with all of the hurdles and all the checks and balances that you do have to go through?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, since I've been at Bayer, and when I got to Bayer, there was little to no creator influencer executions. And I had to convince the organization to do something that they didn't really know a lot about. And we now, I don't know, execute like 60 campaigns a year. We have 15 brands. Most brands execute at least 2 influencer campaigns. So we've seen a lot of success. And I think that one of the situations where I've seen success, we won an award on our Teach Me How to Gummy campaign. And initially, there was I don't want to be on TikTok. I don't know if we can be on TikTok. Is Bayer going to be on TikTok? And there were all these questions coming out. And is it even right for our consumer? We, on our One a Day business, have a 50+ product. And it's like, are people there that are really going to notice our product and buy it? It's all children. So there was a lot of convincing of like, no, the platform's used by 50+. Here's the statistics that go with it. And how do we take our product and make it interesting and avoid having to disclose, like, I'm not going to bore you guys, but there's DSHEA claims and other claims that you make when you're dealing with vitamins and supplements. And we said, well, let's make it about a trend. Let's tap into the dancing and let's reinvent a song. So let's take it away from the benefits and make it entertaining. So someone enters into fandom with one a day. And we partnered up with Alfonso Riviero, who is known for his dance moves on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and has danced in other fashions as well. And he himself is 50 and has a great TikTok following. And we also partnered up with 50 plus people on the TikTok platform who were known for dancing as well. And the best part of it is we remade the song Teach Me How to Dougie to Teach Me How to Gummy. And that was the song that everybody danced to. And it was choreographed by Alfonso, and it was fantastic, and it was fire, and it was social gold. TikTok had acclaimed that it was their best health and wellness campaign. And I think the workaround to rise above talking about benefits all the time. Listen, social media, it's entertaining. If you're going to show up as a brand, no one's going to pay attention to you. No one's going to want to follow you or participate. You're there to entertain or edutain if you want to. Everyone's, gravitating towards that as well. But if you show up as a brand, no one cares. If you show up as an actual person who is in the voice of the creator, then that's where you're going to win. And let's not force people to do crazy things like, hey, there's this product and you should take it and it helps with your brain. No, how do you get more interesting and then send a message in other ways?
I think that's so interesting. I really like the point about how you were saying that when you're building an emotional connection, there's many ways to do it. There's the benefits, like here's what happens if you take it, and then this is what will happen, or this is how it'll elevate your life. But then also, let's build an emotional connection purely to the brand, and the brand then becomes layer one, or the door that you enter. And then once you're in that door, it's much easier to build consideration and much easier to use other marketing measures. A little earlier, you spoke about how like every day you're in the UFC and you're always going to battle. And so I'm assuming a big part of the job is convincing upper management and the people around you that this is really important to be a part of your marketing strategy, is working with creators. What's been the most successful approach? Is it metrics? Is it storytelling when trying to convince upper management that no, to your point, influence marketing should still be a part of our program regardless of the regulations?
Yeah. So it's the first thing you said, it's metrics. And that's how I sold it in the first place. No one wanted to do it. And I had to do a scale program, which is basically a multi-brand program, and tin cup around the organization. So, let's call it an influencer execution would be a couple 100,000. Well, now if I get 5-6 brands involved, it's only 30,000. That's a rounding error for people. They're like, oh yeah, that's cute, Denise, go off, take the 30,000, do what you want. Okay, good. I did. And I showed them that, and also remember, you're dealing with marketers, right? So like, you don't want to, I was like on stage presenting at a conference and I was like, impressions, sorry, PR people, no one gives a shit about your impressions. Like, you need to have paid media along with this. So you can show MTA, you can show Nielsen ratings, you can show ROAS and all those things to go back and have those conversations where you say, hey, look, your display ad did this. This is what this influencer content did. So you have to constantly be proving that. If you could do click to cart, if you're a brand that sells directly to consumer, winning hands down 100%. I'd love to work on one of those brands because I can show you through the clicks and what's been sold. Like, I have to use click to cart and, the retailers aren't disclosing what the purchase is. I can give like an estimate of 10%, which is nice. It's still a metric. But being able to tag with paid media, when people aren't doing paid media for influencer marketing, I think it's a huge mess, because that's really how you're going to be on par with all the other marketing strategies and executions that are happening. So that scale program I talked about, huge success, hands down success. So I went into one of our marketing meetings, call it a town hall. And I said, hey, like, put together the presentation. Hey guys, this is what happened. This is how you're branded. This is all. everyone's like, oh my God, I want to do one. I want that. I want to do one. And then continue to show these successes. So I talked about Teach Me How to Gummy. Again, let me get in front of the group. Let me show everybody. Let me send an email, put something on Teams. Oh, I want to Teach Me How to Gummy. I want to be on TikTok too. When no one wanted to be on TikTok before, but when I showed it, everyone, sort of says it's a winning combination, and let's do it. So definitely data.
It reminds me of, I remember I was listening to the founder of Complex, and he was talking about the early days of Complex when they were trying to sell in their YouTube series to advertisers, where before it was just advertising on TV was the main way. And he's like, the shift in mindset for him was, let me present YouTube metrics as if they were the 24-hour cume, the 3-day cume. And he's like, that helped so much to get marketers in the same mindset. So there was a relative comparison. So I think that's such gold for everyone listening here is, yes, there are hurdles, but if you can speak the same language of here's what was done with your marketing spend elsewhere, and just a simple comparison, why wouldn't they go with you? Why wouldn't they believe in everything that you're doing? One thing that you told me a couple of weeks ago when we were talking that I thought was so interesting was the use of ambassador programs through influencer marketing with different brands at Bayer. Can you walk me through why ambassador programs and why they've been so successful?
Yeah, well, I love ambassador programs, and I spoke at Social Media Week simply just about our ambassador programs at Bayer. Now, back in the day, like, oh my God, like 10, 15 years ago, I was doing influencer ambassador programs. And I mentioned TJ Maxx and Marshalls before. And when I worked on TJ Maxx and Marshalls, we had ambassador programs. And back in the day, that was like as early as like mommy bloggers and things like that. But nonetheless, they were influencers, and we used them as our ambassadors for that. And then, like, as I went through my career, was applying that in certain areas. I'm a huge fan of ambassadorship, and I'm glad that it's on the rise now even more, because influencers, like, think about it for yourself. And I talk to all of our ambassadors, and I'm like, why do you like our ambassador program? What do you like about it? Well, number one, it's a steady paycheck. Number two, it's more authentic. So let's say you're Ford Motor Cars or whatever, and the influencer can naturally talk about their Ford car, their experience every day. Like, Midol. I get cramps every month. I could talk about Midol in a very authentic way. And sometimes it's bloat. Sometimes it's the heat vibes I'm putting on me. All different products. We have a number of products. So every month you could talk about something authentically. They love the authenticity of it. And they like to go deep on something and get to know it. When you do a one-off thing, it's just like you don't really, really live that brand. So these relationships are on the rise, and there are a lot of companies like Sephora and others that are doing it really well, and a lot of liquor brands are leading in there too. But so at Bayer, I was like, we can do that too. I don't see why we can't do that. And about 3 years ago, we started our ambassador program. And, I've worked in the lifestyle, health, and wellness space for a long time, and just started talking to some of my influencer friends and just surveying them. Do you use any Bayer products? Would you be interested in trying some Bayer products? Do you suffer from allergy? Any of this? And then we started just building relationships, because really that's what you want to do with these folks. Two-way communication. I use them to speak internally at events. I've invited some of my ambassadors to speak on stage with me at different speaking engagements that I have. We use them in PR. We ask them for content that we answer TikTok responses. There's so many ways that we work with them. Yes, every month they have a post and they are talking about our product and doing that, but we're using that content in paid, and we're elevating the relationship with them to really engage them in various ways through the marketing chain.
Yeah, it's so interesting how you're taking just such a human approach to it. Is if I walked by you on the street and I said what's up to you once, you'd be like, all right, maybe I'll remember that person. But if we continue to interact, and then I ask you about your family and you ask me about mine, and then it's, hey, do you want to grab lunch? Those multiple interactions over different environments definitely help to solidify it. And you can see with the success that you've had, which is amazing. I know we're more or less we are at 120. I don't want to end off on this. What advice, and this is quite a broad question, but what advice would you give to marketers that are in regulated industries that are continuously playing or fighting in the UFC every single day to get over that battle or to continue to win this so-called battle?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing first is treat whatever it is as a CPG, as a consumer packaged good. Don't think of your product as, hey, enter into it with the negative mindset of this is regulated. I'm going to be met with a million different challenges. Ask why not and try to come up with a compromise and continue to evaluate those relationships with influencers so that you can work closely with your internal teams, whether legal, regulatory, medical, and ensure that you're teaching them as much as they're teaching you. So if you understand the barriers, then you're able to work with the influencers and educate them. But at the same time, step in front of the legal team and say, hey, this is how, I bet they're not even on TikTok. So this is how you use TikTok. This is what the platform looks like. This is the difference between a story and a static post. And with education comes familiarity and comfortable, and people become comfortable. So it takes a lot of fire in the belly, but like any challenge, there's huge success at the end. If something's easy, you don't feel as rewarded. So I would say mark it up as a challenge and, you know, set your path forward and definitely continue to try.
I think, again, we could have done an hour of this. We could have gone deep into metrics and details, but the point of this, again, is just 20 minutes to get people thinking. Denise, thank you so much for coming on. This was genuinely very insightful. I hope that everyone walks away with that same fire in the belly, thinking about things in a different way, thinking about things not in a one-dimensional, you only have to do an influencer marketing campaign, but if there's a brand ambassador program alongside it, just that compounding, as you were saying, that familiarity is amazing. And then your point about metrics when trying to tell that story internally to get buy-in and slowly build your case. Again, so fundamentally correct and very strong to see how well you've done at Bayer. So thank you so much for joining. It was a pleasure having you on. For everyone that was in the audience, that's still in the audience, thank you for spending 20 minutes again with us. This is week 9. Next week, we're talking about our back to school earnings, related influencer marketing programs with someone who leads. Her name's Sophia. She leads measurement and insights for our team. So once again, thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. Denise, thank you once again for the 20 minutes.
Thank you very much.
And all your insight. And everyone go follow Denise on LinkedIn and go follow her wherever you go speak, because always so much knowledge. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks,
See you
everyone.
soon.
Bye.